Welcome to the Warrior Code Podcast, where warriors are made one step at a time. Join us on an exciting journey through the world of martial arts. Discover the secrets of mastering your technique. Unlock the power of a warrior's mindset. Learn from the top instructors and world-class competitors, whether you're aiming for black belt or want to dominate the tournament scene. This is your ultimate guide of becoming the best version of yourself. Get ready.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Warrior Code Taekwondo Academy podcast. Today I'm just going to be chatting with you. My name's LeGrow, head instructor, owner of the school, and we want to talk about some back to school principles to help set up all of our families and anybody watching for success. Now keep in mind that everybody has a different definition of what it means to be successful, especially around back to school time, but here are, over the years of being an instructor and watching the habits of kids, watching even the habits of some of our parents and our families, just giving you some ideas that will help you hopefully plan for a better successful school year going into 2024 and heading towards 2025. So first, I'm going to start with the parents because it's a really important step that parents are prepared. So here's the one of the people I follow, and if you are an entrepreneur and you love to solve problems or live your best life, there's a gentleman by the name of Dan Martell, and he wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time. So I started that book and I just thought it was unbelievable. And as I got to study Dan Martell, and I follow him on social media and I'm watching all of his videos, and he's talking about team training your teams. And he talks about how if you're not your best self, you're not going to be the best mentor. And just like being a father and being a parent, if you're not your best self, it's going to be hard for you to navigate through the waters with your family and with your children. So, parents, it's going to be really important that you are sleeping right, eating right, and working out, because it's going to put you in a better state of mind and in a better body as you navigate. You're just going to feel better all around. So parents, it's important that it's not only about the kids this back to school, but you have to start with you. So take an extra 20 minutes a day, just do a little bit of a workout. Spend some time meal prepping, and make sure, even if you don't think you have time to go to bed at a reasonable time, make sure you go to sleep and get a good night's sleep. Now, here's the prep work that's going to go into it. So prep work, parents, for your kids. If your kids are younger, for instance, my daughter is 5 and my son is 1, meal prepping. Getting them ready, getting everything ready for school the night before, because you never know what's going to happen on the morning of. And if you're always waking up and you're always like running around like a chicken with your head cut off, you're not going to approach things with the best state of mind. And it's going to be important that you, the parents, are in total control of the situation, or at least keeping cool when the chaos starts to arise. Now, if your kids are a little bit older, what my suggestion is the night before, when everybody's kind of toning down and getting ready for bed, involve your kids in what needs to be done in order to be ready for the next day, right? The prepping starts the day before. It doesn't start the moment you wake up in the morning. The next step about being successful for back to school and throughout the school year are the conversations that you have. For instance, pre-framing. So for instance, when I go out and I teach a class, I notice there's a significant difference in the attention span and in the effort level of the students when I pre-frame a class of what we're going to be doing versus when I don't pre-frame. So for instance, if I walk out on the floor and I bow in and I start class, everyone's just following along, but nobody's really, everybody's wondering what's happening next, but nobody's really, I would say, bought in, or nobody's really vested in what's going on in the class. However, if I said, hey, listen guys, it's a sparring week this week, and I want to make sure that you got your combinations down, so we're going to be working on combinations, and when you're doing the combinations, here's what I would like to see. Now everybody has this idea, they know the flow, what's going to happen, they're a little bit more comfortable riding with the plan, and they have an expectation. When you set the expectations, when you have a conversation before school, it's really good to set the expectations of what you'd like from your kids that day. For instance, when Felicity was in preschool, we had this little pep talk. Every morning, we'd get out of the car and we'd walk towards the door, getting ready to sign her in. And I'd say, Felicity, what are you going to do today? And she would have it down pat. I'm going to listen to the teachers. I'm going to be nice to everybody. And I'm going to tell the truth. Now, the tell the truth part was actually added later in the year because she went through a phase where she started hiding things because she was afraid of getting in trouble. So the telling the truth was, if you tell the truth in the beginning, you might still get in trouble, but at least you'll be in less trouble and will be able to solve the problem. Now she feels like we're on her side, and now she's more likely to tell us when something goes wrong. So those were our 3 pre-frames going into preschool. For kindergarten, we're now working on our next set, where it's listen to the teachers, be nice to everybody, walk away from trouble, and tell the truth. Like, just add some things, because we don't want her to be associating herself into trouble. And so going forward, there's some pre-framing. Now, after school, there's a different series of conversations. If you ask mediocre questions, you're going to get mediocre answers. For instance, how many of you have asked, hey honey, how was your day today? And what kind of answers do you get? It was okay. It was good. It was okay. It was good. It was good. Even if it's not good, it's good. So you need to start asking deeper questions that involve deeper answers. But you can't make it so hard to answer that they don't want to speak. So for instance, you could start with wins and challenges. That's one of my favorites. And I like to call it the what's, not the how's. How was your day? What happened in your day that was really awesome today? Or what did you really like about school today? Because now they're going to start looking for good things. It's always easier to find good things to talk about with your family than it is to have to answer and you don't know what they're looking for. You don't know if you really want to talk about that. You don't know, so that's the thing. Hey, what was really cool about school today? And that gives them a chance to go, whew. And when they start opening up, it's easier for them to keep opening up. And then instead of saying, hey, what did you do that was bad? Or hey, did you get in any trouble? Or did anything happen here? It's not a very warm way for them to confide in you or to talk about it. Let's say if they were bullied, or if they got in trouble, or if the teacher has something against them. So it's better to say things like, what challenges are you having in school that happened today? Is there anything, or what happened today in school that maybe you would have not liked to happen? And now they can start feeling more safe to open up to talk to you about that. Remember that the conversations before school and after school are going to be very pivotal, or very important, because the talks you have before set them up for the day. The talks you have after school are how you're going to enjoy or not enjoy the evening with your family, but it also lets the ball roll on what they liked and didn't like, and it allows them to start focusing on the good, and it allows them to do things about, or at least process the negative without overbearing or without pushing it down and letting it explode later. Now, the next part about back to school is the diet and the habits. Now, a lot of times, some parents are I guess there's been an uprise of ADD and ADHD, and I really recommend parents to start looking up this guy on YouTube. He's like the human biologist, really crazy information, and he just talks about how, he does a lot of talking about the diet, of the North American diet, but there's a lot of foods that our kids might not be processing. So even if you think we're eating healthy, we're not totally eating as healthy as we think. And what's happening is a lot of the ADHD, the ADD, the distractions, the anxiety, anger, depression, a lot of these feelings and symptoms that our kids are being diagnosed with might actually be misdiagnosed. And it's not because of what's happening on the outside of things, but it's what's happening inside. So a lot of the foods that we can't process, they actually send impulse signals to our brain. And what happens is that impulse signal is what causes the brain to overreact, overload, overanalyze, like all the impulses. And so when we have a kid that has ADHD, sometimes it's they just ate something that their body is not able to process into the usable form that creates the energy to allow them to live a happy, healthy life. And so when they're sitting there trying to process something, and they're told to sit still, they're told to pay attention, they're told to keep it down and keep quiet, it's going to be really hard for them because their body is fighting to process something that their body is not able to process. So nutrition is going to be the first part. So if you want your kids to pay attention in school and actually feel good in school, a rich diet of fruits, vegetables, and other good healthy foods is going to be really, really important. For the dietary part, I recommend everybody look up Gary Brecka. His name is Gary, G-A-R-Y, Brecka, B-R-E-C-K-A. And he is an absolutely amazing speaker. He's been on numerous podcasts. He has a doctorate in human biology and biology, or a PhD in human biology and biology. So definitely somebody you want to follow and take a look at. And the next part of the diet and the habits are the screen time, the exercise time, and the sleep time. So the first part, we're gonna dive into screen time. So I'm actually just on my screen in front of me, I'm looking at a statistic that was done by the JFK Medical Center and Iowa State University. And this is why screen time it's really important, especially take your kids' phones away when they're sleeping. Don't let kids sleep with a phone in their room. Now this sounds really harsh and it's going to be a real big adjustment policy at home, but on average, each teenager there was a study done and it was like 100 kids or something like that, and on average, each teenager sent 33.5 texts per night when they were supposed to be asleep. 75% of the participants who slept with a phone next to them had persistent problems falling asleep. Now, if you just put those two together, texting when you're supposed to be sleeping, or on your phone playing a video game from your phone when you're supposed to be sleeping, and having trouble falling asleep, you can only imagine how that's going to hurt their focus, their concentration, and their ability to wake up in the morning, and of course the concentration in school. So it's really important. Let's take away the temptation of the phones and the screens from our kids when they are sleeping. And they said that the youth who exceeded more than 2 hours of daily screen time were 78% more likely to have ADHD symptoms than those who spent an hour or less texting or playing video games. So if you think about it, our kids are getting screen time in schools. A lot of it's being done on computers and iPads. They have phones and tablet access at home. So it's really important that while we want our kids to be happy and we want them to have a good time and enjoy life, it's really important that we do more hands-on things with them than just give them a screen, a tablet, a phone. If they need to do an assignment on the computer for homework, things like that, maybe that's like the exception, but we need to get them more off of the screens and more back into the real world, because this way their brains can also calm down a little bit, and we're going to have less of those ADHD symptoms, and we're going to have more ability for them to connect with their friends, focus in school, and also have better relationships with you, the parents at home. Now, the other thing is setting them up for success. Now this one is more along the lines of whether your kid plays in a sport like basketball, soccer, they're doing martial arts or music lessons or whatever the case may be. If you want them to be able to take those things more seriously, because if you think about it, evening program, like whether it's an exercise program, martial arts, or a sport, and then the daytime in school where they're active all day in school, is a really good balance to keep them at their best selves. So a couple things would be, for instance, after school, if you give them access to screen time and junk food, we're already kind of poisoning their minds and their bodies. So it's really important that after school, let's try and feed them with healthy snacks. Let's try to give them time to review the day. If they have homework to do, let's get the homework out of the way, but let's do it right away. Let's come home, have a snack and relax, take on that homework, and then let's practice some daily chores. Now, I know some parents have their kids working at home already, and that's fantastic. My daughter, she's 5 now, she's been doing laundry since she was 4 years old. It's really hard, and it's not only a chore for her, it's a chore for us to get her to do it. But we're not investing in this as a thing to punish her. This is a long-term investment that's going to develop her character. And we believe in the end result, which is why we're doing that. And so a chore, whether it's, helping sweep the kitchen floor, whether it's help putting away the dishes from the sink or putting dishes in the dishwasher, something that allows them to contribute into the household chores, that eventually they learn to feel that appreciation that they are contributing to the household. Now, nobody wants to do chores. Nobody wants to come home and say, oh, I just worked all day. No, I have to do laundry, dishes, this. But imagine if everybody contributed, and then after it's like, hey, how would you like to stop doing the chores now, and we're gonna go to basketball practice, or we're gonna go to Taekwondo, or we're gonna go to piano lessons. Now, getting away to do things that they didn't wanna do, and if you think about it, when kids have access to their screen time, when kids are eating junk food, they don't wanna leave the house, they don't wanna do anything, they just wanna hang out with their friends and pretty much sit around. So it's more important to set them up in a routine that allows healthy habits that they can build on and become that best version of themselves. So again, I'll just review that. My recommendation is after school, set them up with a nice healthy snack and an opportunity to just decompress. From there, let's get them into their homework or a review of the day, just so that they can continue learning. When they go back to school the next day, they're going to retain more of the information. They're going to be more in tune, and they're going to be sharing more energy. They're going to be more invested in what the teacher is actually teaching. And then when they finish doing the review of the day or homework, then get them on some kind of household chore appropriate to their age and ability that's safe, where they can contribute. And the other thing is, parents, it's going to be important for you to acknowledge what they're doing and help them understand that they are actually helping. Because it feels good when you know that I've done something good and I'm being told and appreciated for the good work that I've been doing. And then feedback on, hey, how would you like to be able to do the dishes even faster? Whoa, let me show you a shortcut. And now you can actually spend productive time with them, teaching them valuable skills that are going to be with them forever. Now, once the chores are done, or once you're getting to the point where it's like, hey, listen, it's time for Taekwondo class. So now you can say to them, hey, what do you say we wrap this up together and head off to the dojo? We can go train and get you to your class on time. Now they're looking forward to it because it's getting them away from the chores and getting in. If they say, can I have my screen time? Well, how about after Taekwondo? And when I say how about, it's more of a, this is what's happening, not I'm suggesting it to you, because there shouldn't be a democracy at home. And then the last thing of the day is, once they finished exercising or their continued education, whether it was a piano lesson, an art class, it's some downtime, some free time. And in this moment, now you can say, hey, listen, look, you've been really good. You've done all your homework, you ate healthy, you've exercised, you've done all this great stuff. How would you like to have like 20 minutes of video game time? And this way, it's like 20 minutes, it's timed, it's structured, and they understand that this is my free time to do whatever I want to do. And then I get to have my free time as well. So it's just like wow, what an end to the day. And then it's like when the 20 minutes is over, you take back the phone, you take back the iPad, and you say, okay, it's time to get ready for bed, or it's time to settle down now. Maybe you want to have a family talk, maybe you want to do different things. One thing that my daughter absolutely loves doing at the end of the day is highs and lows. We review the day from the morning we woke up to the end of the night, and then we pick what are the things that happened to us today that were the best things, and we'll say, these were my highs today. These are the things that made me feel incredible. And then these were my lows. These are the things that I really didn't like. These are the things that hurt my feelings. These are the things that didn't make me feel good. And then the more you share those with your kids, and it's not just about them sharing, it's you are also sharing with your kids, because what happens is there's a bond that is strengthening there that allow them to see that, yeah, we are their parents, and to a lot of kids, parents are the heroes. And there's like, we can't do anything wrong, or we're not weak, or we're not vulnerable. But when they see that we're human beings too, they're watching us grow up. And I don't know if this is actually a really good expression that I heard somebody say. Once you get to a certain age, you realize you've spent your childhood watching your parents grow up. I can't believe how true that is. So share your highs and lows at the end of the day with your kids. Sorry. So just to review, Back to school success. Parents, it starts with you being your best self. So find time to work out, eat healthy, get good sleep. It's going to be important because the better you are, the better you're going to be with your kids. Second thing, put in the prep work. Set yourself up for success the night before every day, as much as possible. It's not going to be perfect, it's not going to happen all the time, but the best thing you can do is try to put the prep work in the night before. As the kids are younger, you do it. Don't make them do it. You can talk about it, they can sit with you in the kitchen while you're doing it, but as they get older, involve them in the process so that you set them up with the habits for success. Conversations to and from school. So when you're going to school, set them up for success on some thoughts for the day, challenges for the day of what you want for them. And then when they finish school, ask them how their day was, but not how, it's the what, not the how. What was cool about school today? What did you really enjoy? What were your challenges? What did you not enjoy? And then the next thing is the habits and the nutrition. So try to make sure that there's always healthy snacks around, always healthy food in the house. Try to send them to school with healthy food and snacks. And then at the same time, remember to reduce the screen time. The last thing we need is to keep our kids hyper and their brains always engaged and stimulated when there needs to be some physical activity, some hands-on things that are not in front of a screen, and then downtime at the end of the day. So I hope this was helpful. If there's any kind of topic or any kind of thing you'd like to cover, or you'd like us to cover, me or my team, please feel free to send us a message. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.